Max Verstappen might crack the Mercedes code. Lewis Hamilton has no more business in F1. To begin, I want to tell the tale of Senna versus Prost in 1988, arguably the most intense rivalry in Formula 1 history. Now that season, the pair were inseparable all season long, but up until the Hungarian Grand Prix, Prost was able to slowly creep into the lead of the championship, but it was at that fateful Grand Prix where things would change for good. It was at that race that Senna was able to take the lead of the title, and that's the first time he's ever done it in his career, but it was that fateful moment where he was able to find the confidence in himself and in the car to take the fight to Prost. And from that moment onward till the end of the season, he would go ahead and win the championship. Now that same story is being replicated in 2021. Allow me to explain. Now, in 2021, Max Verstappen is being heralded as the next champion in waiting after finally taking the lead of the championship. But having the raw speed of Max and all the motivation that he has behind him doesn't always mean success. And I can recall 2010 where another Red Bull driver by the name of Mark Webber had all the confidence after taking the lead of the championship for most of that year. But he would fail at 2 Grand Prix and end up losing the championship entirely. But this year's a little bit different. I see a different kind of spark in Max. And I can half see him after 7 years of being in the sport having one hand on the trophy already. Let's talk about confidence.
It feels like Max has shown his talents and readiness to overthrow Mercedes' monopoly on Formula 1 for a while now. Since he ousted Ricciardo at the end of 2018, the sport has been in a near 3-horse race, with Lewis on top, Bottas following in his shadows, and Max taking third in 2019 and 2020. In the latter year, Max very nearly overtook Bottas for second too, and this is worth mentioning a little later in the video, so stay tuned for that. So with the Dutchman now in the best position to really threaten the aging Hamilton, it's so very easy to forget just how far Max has come since his early days. Exploding onto the scene at the tender age of 17 to then be promoted to Red Bull Racing and to win his first race on his first attempt, to then becoming the laughing stock of the series and being too unreliable. This version of Max is the best we've ever seen, and he's only 24 years old. This is the Max that we've been waiting to see for years now, not only because he's a genuinely talented driver, but the collective fan base needs a new hero that can take charge. Max has had the confidence for years now, and he is in the lead of the Drivers' Championship, and his hunger to win will only extend further and further. This is all not to say that he won't have to go through another grueling 18 races this season with someone who can take on-track pressure better than anyone else. Verstappen has a formidable opponent who many would still argue is the main contender for this title. In fact, I'd probably put my money on Hamilton taking his 8th title this season. He has the best team structure and a brilliantly quick support in Valtteri Bottas, so by routine the Silver Arrows should be able to find a consistent rhythm that Red Bull Racing cannot contend with over the course of a season. But this is where the routine could break. Things are increasingly different this year. Ferrari have pace, the second seat at Red Bull is filled by a consistently performing driver, and big boy Bottas actually has the biggest fight of his career as he desperately races to prove his continued worth at Mercedes. All of these subplots to the 2021 saga make this season in particular one of the most interesting in recent memory, and for all the right reasons they will affect the outcome of the season. Beginning with Bottas, I wholeheartedly believe this will be his last season in Mercedes, and despite all his hard work and continued support to make that organisation one of the most successful in sporting history, the team needs to look onwards, and removing Hamilton is just not an option unless it's under his own terms. Hamilton would want to bow out either on top or having been legitimately beaten in a season-long battle. Then Russell needs to be promoted, and this right here is where the big battles will be, and I believe that there will be a 4-horse battle for the championship in coming years. Max versus Hamilton versus Leclerc versus Russell, I simply cannot wait. But Bottas' fight comes by way of Perez, the other second driver, and then to support Lewis against Max. Completing these two tasks are the bare minimum for Mercedes at this stage, and I feel like Bottas will at least be able to help Lewis secure the championship, but beating Perez, this is something that I'm less certain of. Perez is getting faster and faster at each race of this season, and despite his win at Baku, the car's overall pace is still beyond Bottas. He's found that confidence, he's been better under pressure, and he knows what it's like to lose a race seat. And as far as I've seen, he's performed better and well enough to reach third in the driver's standings, which is exactly where a second driver who's not directly locked in the title battle should be. So Mercedes are comparing Bottas to Perez this season, and if the Mexican comes out on top, that seals the fate for Bottas.
Too early in the season to be making these kind of predictions, I hear you ask. Well, I've been watching Grand Prix racing for a very long time now, and I hate to admit it, but I've also just watched about 2 decades worth of Grand Prix highlights from the 1980s, 1990s, and the early 2000s, and this was for my last Michael Schumacher video that I did. Go ahead and check that one out as well. And from that, I've deduced that Bottas out and Russell in. Let me say that again, Bottas out and Russell in, or I could just be massively wrong and Hamilton decides to retire and then that promotes Russell in and Bottas stays there as well, and then, you know, I could just get that massively wrong and this could backfire. Also, shout out to Deanna from Relapped, who recently hit 1,000 subscribers on her channel, so massive congratulations to her. And she watches Grand Prix from the 1970s and 1980s, and she's just loving life right now. Go check out her channel, and she actually gave me the idea to go ahead and watch a lot of these old Grand Prix, because you actually learn a lot. And I think she's the walking Wikipedia of Formula 1, so definitely go check her out her channel, and massive congrats to 1,000 subs as well. I digress, I need to get back into the video.
Another noteworthy point is Ferrari's recent performance gains. Now, it's no mystery that the Maranello-based team have gone through a rough 2020, but they've been slowly tinkering away to produce a seriously quick car for this year and beyond. This performance upgrade seriously throws a spanner in the works for the championship, and can take away valuable positions and points to either Red Bull or Mercedes.
And I say let's have more of it.
This is exactly what we need to have more of. No more runaway championships. Having either Leclerc or Sainz occupying any step of the podium can drastically affect the championship. Now, all of this is arbitrarily meaningless should one team suffer from a line of bad performances, which in a sport like this can throw away a title run. But maybe, just maybe, the motorsport gods will allow us a season which will stand the test of time and finally offer a different dynamic to what we've been all too far familiar with. And now, I'm not saying we need a new champion, although we need a new goddamn champion. But to have this fight go right down to the wire from a driver of another team is exactly and the only way how a championship ought to be. And this is fundamentally better for everyone. So what are your thoughts? Can Max dethrone Hamilton? Is Bottas out? And has Perez broken the second seat curse? Let us know down below, and if you're new to the channel, give us a sub and check out all the socials too. Oh, and if you have a cool car with an interesting history and maybe want to be featured on this channel, give us a message on any of the socials. Check out some of my other car videos like the Ferrari 458 video for the type of content that you could expect to see. But for now, catch you on the next one.